everybody. I hope that you are all doing well, and I'm sending warm greetings from the magical island of Fuerteventura. I'm very happy that you find your way to the next episode of the Agility on the Road podcast. My name is Vendula Hausnerova, and I'll be your host. This time we'll get to the Central America, and I was talking to my friend Raul Molina, agility judge, trainer, and competitor from Guatemala. We're talking about agility in Guatemala, about his personal agility story, his background in gymnastics, about the meetings back then we met, and much more. I believe that you will enjoy this episode as much as I did. If you are interested about more inside stories and mindful tips and in some adventures from the life on the road, go to my page agilityontheroad.com and sign up to monthly newsletter. And with this being said, let's dive to the episode itself.
Hi, Vendula.
Hello. Good morning.
I'm good.
Can
How
you
are
hear
you?
me? I'm good.
Yes, I can. I'm going
Happy
to turn it up
see
a little
you.
bit. So you recording already?
Yes, I'm recording that I would not forget to record. Perfect. I'm very happy with what I see. You look better
I
5
see
years
you.
ago, but well, let's say
You see,
that's connection.
I cut all my hair off like 2 weeks ago. Just woke up one day and said, I think it was New Year's. I just woke up. I said, I'm going to cut my hair off today. I went to my friend's barber shop and I said, just cut the ponytail off and then we'll just go from there.
Have you been thinking about something more drastic, like cut it completely?
No, I think too many years of my life I had short hair and it was kind of an obligation for sports. And I think I got to the point where I was like, nobody's going to make me have short hair anymore.
Because of the gymnastics?
Yes. In gymnastics in those days, you couldn't have long hair, you couldn't have piercings, and you couldn't have any tattoos showing.
I see.
And I have a tattoo, but it's not, you can't see it.
In your ass.
Yeah. Only special people get to see that.
Not that I would see that, I just guessed.
Yeah, and I did it on purpose because I didn't want any trouble with the university when I was competing, so people had on the ankle or on their ass or maybe on your chest, and so you cover it with the uniforms.
Now you are in Guatemala, I guess, right?
Yes, I'm still here.
But
'cause
your
I
history,
moved
it's
here.
kind of American
moved here.
Guatemala coming back and forth.
Yeah, so like I tell people, like I was born in Guatemala. I have Guatemalan family, but half of my family, like two of my grandparents were American, and so I have family in the United States, obviously, and I grew up in the United States. So I didn't live here in Guatemala, and I moved here when I was 22 years old. So most of my life, I think I've been in Guatemala now, but it was always about half. And so my first language was English, and then I had to move back into Spanish eventually. So
That's so interesting.
been fun.
What made
I always say it's the weather first. You've been here. It was rainy when you were here, but it's the weather helps. I did have some family background, and I think that made it more interesting to come back and try to make a life here. And so far, well, still working on it,
And you
Yeah.
never know when we'll end up, right? Like it's one big adventure, and today we are here.
It is. And to be here with you, Vendela, is something I could have never imagined more than 10 years ago when I had nothing. I had no dog and I had no interest in dog sports, I think. So life changes, and I
Yeah.
think this is more something for the future too. So it's nice to be able to talk here with you about it.
My pleasure to see you again. It was the last
Yeah.
time, like 5 years ago, when I was sitting there with you in a house, right?
Yes, ma'am.
It's all we made it happen somehow very quickly. And I think that sometimes things just happen how they should happen. And
Yeah.
there is a click, and there was a click. And I just feel, even though there was a long time we didn't speak to each other, it's come back
Yeah.
to the old friend.
Well, I think we had some wonderful experiences with you, not only here at home, but when we got to travel and to your competitions in Mexico and Colombia. I think that was the
True,
reason
that we met more time.
Yeah, because when we found out you were judging, it was easier to make that decision. I mean, because you bring it. I mean, you bring that energy, and you made those competitions just awesome. So that's why
Thank you.
I think So that's why I'm so excited to be here and to share some stuff with you, because we probably don't know a lot about each other, but we definitely had a good time getting to know each other, my wife and you, the friends.
And yeah, you mentioned Gabby, your wife. She is the
Yes,
reason why
ma'am.
you started with agility, or you started with agility? How it was?
It's all her fault. So yeah, she fell in love with agility. I think just watching videos, and she had just bought a Shetland sheepdog,
Huh?
and it was her first dog. And she says to me, "You know, look at this sport. I want to do this." I think we weren't even married yet, and I said to her, "You know what? I think I have a friend who has this at his house."
Already in Guatemala.
Yeah, and it was an older gentleman, Don Fernando. He's one of the founders of agility in Guatemala, and he just passed away a couple of weeks ago. He was in his 80s. He was an older man, but he was a really good friend of my family's, and me and his children, his grandchildren are all friends with mine. And so I called him and I said, "You know what? My wife bought this dog. She wants to do agility." He goes, "Well, just come on over." There was only like 3 people doing agility, so
There were any
it probably took
competitions, or he just had it in the garden
maybe
because it was like funny stuff to do?
I think, there was a one competition a year.
That's
That's what I remember.
better than
It
nothing,
was
right?
yeah, and I didn't even have a dog, and my wife had one, and so I think, basically, when she started, she was very athletic, very talented, and he saw that, and so he gave her one of his, grade 3 dogs, a border
I will
collie. It
just
was a
grab
yeah, no
my
worries.
youngster because she is very protective, and it's good to have a protective poodle in the house, but not perfect when you are recording. Ah, hello, hello,
Dutchie.
hello, hello.
You remember my, super dog, right?
You were even competing with him, right?
Yes, I did, for you, to mess with you.
Thank you, I appreciate it.
Yeah. So anyway, Fernando was so nice. He saw a lot of talent in Gabby, but her dog was very young, it was a puppy. And so he gave us an older border collie. It's a agility 3 dog, a very proper border collie that they had brought from the United States, I believe. And he said, "Here, I want to give her to you and you can start competing." She's 9 years old, but she can still compete a little bit, and
Perfect to learn
that gave her
for Gabby.
yeah, so she did some, proper courses, and at the same time was training her dog. And I think it changed our life a lot because that was a great dog to have. And so was her Nea, was her first dog. She was amazing and she had a lot of success. And so one day my wife came home with 2 border collies. She said, "This one's yours and this one's mine." And I said, "What are you
Easy
crazy?"
like this.
I said, "Are you crazy?" And eventually I said, "Fine, I'll take him with me to this was 2000, 2014. April. Yeah, about April, yeah. So my dog, I still have him. He's 12 years old, and he taught me a lot. And so he taught me just about everything. He's the only dog I have that has done every sport with me. He wasn't the best. Well, like, you know what I mean? Like, I started agility, and then we did some tracking, IGP tracking with him. We did herding. I learned how to play frisbee. Just a great dog to have. He taught me a lot. He gave me the opportunity to learn a lot of things, and then afterwards, you maybe look for a different dog.
But you are saying that like he wasn't the best, but like we weren't the best handlers neither, no? Like back then, like come on, if I remember myself like clapping back.
Well, you know how life is. It always gets you where you don't expect it. And so this border collie, his best sport was IGP tracking. So I think he's like a Malinois trapped in a border collie.
I
Just
met
likes
few
the
of them.
nose work. Yes, and so he made the pandemic was very fun with him because I got to track every day,
Uh-huh.
and he was very good. So I got to a point where got my certificate of tracking with him, and it's the things that my dogs have given to me that made it more fun.
Now, you just brought me to the reality because I was recording with Jan Egil a few days ago, and we get to the point that he's the lucky one who has an agility field on the garden, and you have an agility field on the property.
Yes, ma'am.
Can't even I can't even remember how big was the property because like when you now mention that you could track field, like here mostly people were stuck in the house and you were stuck in your property, but your property it's kind of dreamland, right?
It is a fun place. It's beautiful, and it became since 2014. It became like a very multi-purpose place. We have horse training facility, and then we started with the dog training, and now we have just a lot of different activities, but they're all very outdoors, and the field is big. Yes, you can fit probably like 12 or 15 agility fields on there if
Easy,
you wanted to.
easy.
Yeah.
Just come to Guatemala.
And the weather's usually pretty good. So yes, we have a lot of fun. The pandemic just felt like a normal life for me. Just didn't go out very much.
Lucky you, lucky you. But let's come back. So the Gabi brought two border collies home. One was for you, one was for her. And what
Yes,
then?
ma'am.
When did you decide that like, okay, we'll buy some agility obstacles? How easy it's like in Guatemala to get the obstacles? Do you have obstacles from Europe or you made it by yourself?
Yeah, well, I think before I got the border collies, I saw my wife was traveling to Fernando's club, which is really far away. It's on the other side of the city. So for our anniversary, I made her a set of obstacles from the PVC pipe, you know? I
You
made
made it.
like yeah, yeah, and
You
well, we
are
have
so sweet, Raul.
yeah. I have help. I didn't do it by myself, but I have good ideas and other people have good hands. So
Okay.
I made a set of jumps and a small tunnel and a small tire. And then I made seesaw, the slalom, and just very
Seesaw
simple
from
things
PVC
and
pipes?
from wood. Yeah, just like look for anything that works. And that's how we started. And and that made her life a little easier. And I wasn't involved yet. I was just kind of backing her up, with that. And then it took about another year for me to say, you know what, let me go to class with you one day, and see what I can do. And I think I was getting bored going to agility and not participating.
And I think as well that the Gabi spend there a lot of time during the trainings and so on. So it's a
Yeah,
nice thing to share together, to spend the time together.
yeah,
Then you have something to
yeah,
talk about.
yeah. I think I've always loved sports, and so any sport is a great excuse to not do something like not go to work or something.
I love your
So
life.
yeah, so I said, you know what? I either compete or I become a judge, like or both, I don't know. So I think that was the main reason. Eventually both things happened. And I think both things are great. And since I've always been involved in sports and coaching and things, I think I enjoyed both sides. Like to be able to observe people and the judges, the way you involve yourself in the competition, make the competition better or you can make it worse. And I like that challenge. Designing is definitely the hardest thing for me, but once you get that better, I think you can make a good influence on the community, especially here we don't have any, just one other lady, Teresita, who's an active judge, but I always felt like I needed to keep that moving. And then you competing, well, I didn't compete with my dog first. I would travel with my wife and she would lend me her dog and I would compete in the agility one.
When I remember how you were running, like how you were completely not taking it seriously. You made it look so easy. We all were super focused and everybody prepared everything. And then the Raul came with one big smile, like, look at me, Vedula, look at me.
Yeah, I think I have to be honest with you. I remember those conversations with you. I think that's what made it so fun competing with you because you knew what was going on. You just read everybody. You read the room. And that's exactly what I've learned after I was a gymnast for 18 years. I've been coaching for 20 years. I was involved in horse sports for 28 years too. I have been there and back with sports, and I don't get nervous anymore. I think the only place I could probably get nervous now is if I went to like the world championships and, with the big stage, maybe get a little nervous. But
Can't wait to see
I
you there one day, Raul.
feel
Can't
like
wait.
I feel like I'm ready to have more fun. And if that's I remember my first like judging course and it was the United States and I remember this very well because they make you study a lot to become a judge. You have to like learn everything, like and for a test. And agility was like the first words were agility is for having fun with your dog. That's like the number one thing. And that never I don't forget that. I think that's what we have to remind people every day. And that's how you get your dog to do things anyway, right? If you're having fun.
Yeah, but for example, in my case, I am in a sport 26 years. So, like I went through the different stages. Like sometimes you are boosting your ego through the sport. Sometimes you want to show off through the sport. Like there are different reasons,
Yes.
different goals what you have. And finally, eventually, well, I had always a fun, but this kind of natural, easygoing fun that you really I don't want to say that you don't care about the result, but you care more about having fun. like about the result. Result is always nice, but I remember as I used to beat myself back then for eliminations. So
Yes.
that feeling when you are driving home, then that's kind of like my number one at the moment, right? But we are all in a
Yeah.
different stages. So I'm very happy that you mentioned this as well.
I
And
think that's something that we haven't lived through here. I think maybe my wife has, or maybe someone else in Guatemala has. But as a coach for many years, coaching children and watching them become adults and become like a very high level gymnast, I kind of understand like where you begin and where you're supposed to end. And the results are always the result of what you did. And so if you do it with the best attitude, concentrate, have fun, be relaxed, you're going to get a good result. And so it's not that it doesn't matter. It's just you can't let the result make you change the way you approach your routine or your agility run. I remember my first clean run in agility 2 was with you. So whether I got or not, I was having fun. It worked because I got my first clean run.
because I forgot to place the slalom there. Am I right?
That was the best favor anybody did for me. Just take the slalom out and I'm good.
Jesus, I was so jet lagged. Like this happened to me twice in my life. Back then it was possible. Like nowadays, like new rules, you have to use the slalom. But before it wasn't, you don't have to use the slalom, even though I saw a very rare amount of the courses without the slalom, and I was so
Yeah.
jet lagged, and I don't know, it was just like such a it was so weird situation, and you just came after the run to me, and you're saying, "Wenduan, you didn't put the slalom there."
Thank you.
And it was as well like we have to mention that in that in that competition back then there was like maybe 15 competitors, right? That like the
Yes.
maybe 5 people were running this course. That it's not that like
Yes.
I am judging one course for 2 hours and I didn't realize that there is a slalom there. So
Yeah, that's exactly right. You get to build a course and they only run it 2, 3 times, 4 times, and then you're changing course. So things can happen, yes. But I will never forget my first clean run with a little help from a friend.
ah.
So don't tell anybody, but I think you just told the whole world.
I mean, the stories are to be shared. And it happened actually to me as well when I went for first time to judge in Japan. And
Okay.
you have to send the courses beforehand. And then we had the dinner before the competition day. And we went through the courses with another, I don't know, 5 or 6 judges. And they all asked me the questions, why you built this. And now buddies didn't realize that I didn't use a slalom in single course. There were like 6 courses. And then I just get to the hotel and I went through the courses as well. Like, that's crazy. That time I was so much under the stress that, like, first time in
Yeah.
Japan and like you want to do your job in the best way. But they didn't tell me before. That's very interesting as well.
No, 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 no. I knew that and I was going to take advantage of that because my dog was going to miss some weaves. That's
Dear.
crazy. Well, I'd be scared to go to Japan too, because you always feel like Japan has like a very serious culture. They do everything perfect, and they take everything serious. You think, I know they're funny people too, but um, to have your everybody looking at your courses, that's got to be stressful.
Exactly. And we in Europe, we don't have to send the courses beforehand. So like you can make changes in your courses till the last moment, like night before, morning before, if you feel like even on the course you can make a change. But it was first experience for me that I had to send the courses beforehand. And then when I saw how those guys took it seriously and they really like to kind of like learn and understand why I use what I use. So I really feel like responsibility for that. And
Let's be clear, okay? So, like, the only judge I've ever met in my life who doesn't have a course design on a piece of paper or on the laptop is you, because you came to Guatemala and you just built the whole courses right off of the brain. And I was just in shock. I would be so nervous to show up and just build courses off my head. I don't see myself doing that properly. And then you did it again in Colombia. And you built, I think, some of the best courses I've ever seen. You made those people sweat.
yeah, I
That
remember
was
that one.
fun.
Well, I have to tell you that I was building courses from my head from my age, maybe like when I was 14 or 15. Always like every time when we train in our training place 2 or 3 times per week, like I was building the
Yeah.
courses just like this. And I have kind of special sense for that. When I'm
Yeah.
standing there, I just feel it and I feel all things around. But when I'm sitting in front of the computer, it's pain in the ass for me. I can spend 2, 3 hours creating the course, and still then I come to the competition and I change a lot of things like the angles because I just don't feel it like that.
Yeah.
And there are two type of judges, I would say. One who made the course on a paper and then they follow the course map strictly as it is there. And then there are other one who just build it and then they have to feel it. And it doesn't matter that on the paper is like that. Like I just want to feel that you have to feel that there will be a flow, it will be good and it will work. And on the paper, even though after so many years of experience, I didn't get that on the paper. Like very rarely I really make a masterpiece on the paper, but just like, of course, that there are many sequences in a head and the many ideas. And sometimes even on the small competitions, like I had the privilege to judge in Guatemala, like you have to adjust after first course because me coming to Guatemala, I had not so much knowledge about the level, what kind of dogs, what kind of competitors will be there. And I don't want to underestimate you. I don't want to build super easy courses. So as well,
Right.
this is the way that you build one and then you are keep adjusting. Like it was too strict. Okay, let's go a little bit down. Like I don't believe that the same courses should be built in every country around the world because every country around the world is in a different stage. Of course, nowadays it's a little bit with the internet, social media, it's a different. But tell me, how many competitors in Guatemala do you have that they are really highly focused and they are in a deep training, and you know that you could say that they will go to the world championship and be able to compete on the same courses? Like, here we go.
Well, I'd say right now about six people that you can see that they're very dedicated to their dogs and they're traveling and they're doing things, they're learning, they're taking the seminars, they're making a good effort, maybe buy a new dog eventually, better dogs, just people that are evolving. And not to say the rest aren't doing the same. Um, Evolving sometimes is slow and sometimes it is fast. And I think for us, as a group, we have a small group here. It's called Unity. This group right here.
It's your club,
Yeah.
right?
So it's our club, but we also, we work together with Steven and Milena, and we also have a trainer here, Cesar, who's he's a local trainer. We trained him first, and he takes all the same seminars as us, so he's very gifted in that. We made a decision many years ago that if we were going to evolve, we needed to evolve from people like you and the European agility community. And we were lucky to travel and meet people, and with social media, to be able to meet people, all of us, and make connections and have people like you come to us and teach seminars. So that's been going on now for, I'd say, close to 10 years. We've had amazing people come here: Tamastra, Pau Serrano, Adrian Bajo, Isabel Angioni. We just recently had Ana Beltran and Cristel just a month ago. I mean, we get so much information in one week or one weekend that we have so much homework to do for the next few months or maybe the whole year. And that helped us. I think that helped us evolve so we could do an agility more like the European courses. Like we just went straight to that. My wife said, I want to do that. I don't want to stay with the agility that's running in the United States, maybe in AKC or USDA, or let's make it hard. And then the training techniques that go with that helped us move forward. And then I think some of our clients enjoy that. I think it made it easier for them to get better with better techniques and better attitude too. You see everybody comes from Europe that just so love dogs and they love to train, and there's that's a good attitude to have if you're going to be in any sport.
Yeah, nice people to have
Yeah.
around. And
Yes.
how many clubs do you have in Guatemala nowadays?
Well, there's basically two clubs. So the club where we started, there's a group that still trains there, and they host usually at one competition, maybe two a year. And then everything else basically revolves around what we do. So whether it's
What you
seminars
do,
or
you mean Unity
at my
and
club, at Unity. At our club, we host maybe 5 to 6 competitions in the year, and then
So
we
it
have the
makes
other two.
7 competitions in a year.
Yeah, and maybe we would do more, but sometimes we travel. Well, we got to travel a lot last year. Every year we travel. It's just different every year. Last year I was lucky to get invited to judge several times. Yeah. And
Where
so
you
that
were?
makes I got invited to Ecuador, Cuenca,
Ay,
Javier Torres, awesome. And also Lisbeth in Mexico. I got to judge with Paco Verjon. I got to judge their national championship competition.
beautiful,
That was
congratulations.
fun. That was crazy because that was, it was 145 dogs.
Amazing.
Yeah. So I felt like that's a whole different job than just, having 30 dogs. We finish it at lunchtime. It was so much fun. I really enjoy it. We have a great relationship with Mexico and Ecuador, all these people. So when you mix those international competitions in, it's like we try to compete maybe every 6 to 8 weeks, every month or two. Yeah. So it gives us time to train more. And then,
Do you do this? What is the championship? What you have? Americas and Caribes? Do you do
yes, we
those
try to do that.
competitions as well?
Yes, we went to Ecuador 2 years ago. That was fun. That was a great competition. We went for like 3 weeks. We stayed
That's
with Pau Serrano
amazing.
and Carmen. Yeah, Pau Serrano and Carmen were our roommates for most of the time. And wow, I just learned so much from Pau, just living with him and the dogs and Carmen. Like these are professional agility people. And they want to train every day. And they have so much fun, and how they treat their dogs is just great. The competition was great. Sometimes we don't go because if it's weight in South America, it's just as expensive to go to South America as it is to go to Europe. And I think sometimes we
Okay.
choose to go to Europe, to go and instead of
And
going to Americas, go to Europe.
are you going to Europe to compete, or now we are talking about world championship, or you
No,
just
going to compete World Championship. Yeah, I think this year we're going to Finland again. So
amazing.
uh,
Congratulations.
yeah, yeah, my wife's
You
gonna
love Finland,
compete
no?
one
I
of.
remember like how many stuff did you bring from Finland the last time?
Well, here's one of them, right? I got the reindeer behind me. There's reindeer. We brought so many toys. So this is our first time back to World Championships since 2019. So and it's the same place. I think it's one of the best places, maybe because it seems like Finland has so many. It's a very popular sport, and people like to go watch it. That was
It's
just an
almost
amazing.
as popular like football, it feels some.
It was amazing. That stadium was full. There was so much energy and just professionalism, and so it's not a bad place to go back and to do agility again. If we do get a chance, I'd like to go to the European Open this year, like with my wife, and
So
because
it
for the
means
first
2
time,
trips to Europe,
yeah,
or you
two.
would
I
stay?
mean, it depends on the checkbook, right? I mean, how that's doing, but I think the reason I kind of wanted to go is because the first time a Latin American judge is going to be judging at the European Open. This is Gabriel.
Gabriel,
And
right?
Gabriel helped me and us a lot when we first started with our competitions. He came here. He gave me good courses for judging and helped me become a judge. I think that's what it comes down to. We're good friends, and I know he's friends with a lot of people, and he's everywhere. And so it's nice to be supportive of that for us, and well, to be supportive of that. He's gotten to that top level, and I'd like to be a part of that.
It
And
will be big
so
event
hopefully.
for Gabriel. I can imagine that it
Yeah,
will
I
be
think it'd be
amazing.
fun. Yeah, I think it'd be fun. And France is a great place, I think, to go and visit. I don't know if I'd live there, but especially with Ana Beltran and Cristel being so nice to us here, and we tried to help take care of them very nicely here. They said we could come by and like just to have that opportunity. I just feel like special, like to have an invitation or a place to go, people and so those are
Such
the
a
things we
holiday
really
it
like
would
to
be
do.
like, always when there is
Yeah,
somebody who would invite you, who would show you around. It's another
yeah, speak the
amazing reason
language.
why to go.
Yeah, I think it makes it a lot easier. And, with the dogs, ever since we got when the dogs and agility, it's like the best excuse to travel. I think you get to bring your pets with you, which is nice, but you're also doing activities and meeting good people that you share things with. It makes traveling really nice. It's not just like getting on a bus and looking at buildings all day it's not tourism. It's
Different vibe.
it's
Yeah.
lifestyle. Yeah,
Yeah.
lifestyle.
And how do you travel with them? Like, do you have a direct flight from Guatemala to Europe?
We do to Madrid, so that's an option on Iberia,
Perfect.
and they also have out of Mexico City, you can fly straight to Amsterdam, I believe. unfortunately, like, the United States became more difficult to travel to dogs with dogs, so we used to go
To
through the
go
United
through the
States too.
United States?
Yeah, from this country. There's several countries that have, like, restrictions, but, we always find a way. That's my job, like, find a way, make it a nice trip for the dogs,
How
not
many dogs will you will take with you, and do they travel with you up or down? How
well,
do you
the
manage
small
it?
one will go up in the on the board with us, yeah, the Sheltie, little Sheltie, and the Border Collie will probably go downstairs in the kennel.
How
I don't
long is a
I think
flight?
it's 11 hours to Madrid, so that's not bad. I think it's an overnight flight, and our dogs sleep in kennels, so they're usually in the kennel for at least 11 hours every night anyway. It's probably a little more stressful, but they got through okay. You just need to get there a few days early and so they can
Acclimatize.
well, everybody needs to get used to the
Yeah,
the schedule and the jet lag and the travel, and so it's nice to get there early
and it's
and maybe
perfect that it's overnight flight. And
yes.
I have to say, for me, like, I was firstly scared when I flew to United States with Elliot, but because it was as well around the 11 hours, but it was absolutely okay for him. He was just sleeping. He's so
Yeah.
used to, and I don't know if the vibe from the plane, he was just sleeping, and it felt like the same like a flight here in the Europe, 2 hours. Yeah.
Yeah, I think it makes it easier, the overnight flights. Plus, as you get older, I don't think like, I don't like hard traveling. I like to make my, like, traveling life easier because you get to
Indeed,
places I don't wanna get there yeah, be all tired and be a mess, like.
I just remember like back then we were able to travel for the competition early in the morning. Like we woke up 2 o'clock in the morning and then we were driving somewhere 5 hours and then we were competing and then we travel back. And like I can't imagine it nowadays, like I think that my body would okay, maybe I would handle it, but it's just like if I
Not as
don't have
fun.
to, please don't put me under those conditions.
No, it's not fun anymore like that. Part of the fun is just being in feeling good and enjoying yourself when you're there. So, yeah, that's what we're looking forward to this year. Hopefully, we get to do good trips this year. And, like, as a judge, here, you never know if you're gonna get invited or not. So it doesn't matter. Like, if someone's nice enough to invite, well, that's great. And if not, well, we travel too. So
Besides the agility, you are now you're herding as well, right? Or it's not the now. I would guess that first was agility and then a herding.
Vendela, to be honest, I think, like, not too long before you came here, maybe like 7 years, 8 years ago. It's been a while now, but I can tell you this, like, for me, I know how my wife fell in love with agility. It was like took like 5 minutes, right? Like, she saw the course and was like, "This is what I wanna do." Well, I hired a guy to come here to teach us herding because I had no idea. I just heard everybody talking about their dogs and their herding lines and all this stuff, and I'm like, "What is that?" Let's find out. And this guy came in. He was very nice, and he taught us the basics. And he did a little demonstration. And I said, "This is exactly what I want to do." And and I just was
So you
amazed. I
bought the
couldn't believe
sheeps
that.
and you did it, as I know you.
Yes, yes, that I didn't I bought the sheep. I bought the sheep for when he came there, just for the course, and I kept them. Yeah, I said, "I'm keeping these," and so they're like little bunny rabbits, and they have little babies all the time, so I always have sheep to train with, and you know what? I have learned so much about myself, about my dogs, about other people's dogs, and other people through herding. I mean, one thing is to teach your dog to go like a robot and left and right and do all this stuff, but behind all the training, there is a lot of to learn about yourself and the dogs and how they work and their mind and I didn't realize that for many years. To be honest with you, you just train like okay, right, left, and forward and back and lie down but I've read a lot of books and I've got some seminars and most of the books that I read are about the dog and they're not about training left and right. They're about how the dog works, why he's a border collie, why does he herd, what is his attitude? What is his sensitivity? His just the way they work. And teaching classes, I've been teaching for like 5 years now. So like it's really cool because it's a great way for people to come to our club. I think people don't look for agility. They don't know about it. So when they have a border collie or an Australian shepherd, they say, "Oh, I don't know what to do with my dog. I can't stand him." We live in an apartment and he doesn't behave and I want to try herding. He's a herding dog. And so I've got to teach a lot of classes. I learned a lot about other dogs, other people. And that's helped me a lot to understand like what's going on with our dogs and how that moves into agility. That's been a fun part. Now, competing, I got to compete a few times. I went to the United States to compete. Yes. I was the worst beginner in the world, but
It's the
for
best to
them,
be the worst because then it's so much to learn.
man, it was so much fun because like I was so much younger than everybody there. Like I was like 20 years younger than everyone there and no experience. And I take my agility dog with me, who I trained. I trained my agility dog first. And when I get there, one of the people at the competition said, "Is that your dog?" I said, "Yeah." "Are you going to compete with that?" She's an intermediate border collie, you know. The guy looks at me and says, "I don't know if he's going to be able to run through the field because the grass is so high." And I'm like, "Oh my God, what
Mm.
am I doing here?" And so I met some good people,
Getting
and they
experience.
oh yeah, and I was able to do what my only goal was have my dog find the sheep. That was the only thing I wanted. That was Bendula. That was a 600-yard outrun. The sheep were at 600 yards. You cannot even see them. My dog has never run more than 200 yards. So that was like the eye-opening experience, you know. And you know what? That was the first time. I got to do 2 runs, and my dog found the sheep. So I was excited. The dog brings the sheep down. It wasn't pretty, but yeah, she brings a sheep. And you know who the judge was, right? It was Kevin Evans, like easily the #1 herding guy in the world from Wales.
Okay.
He was the judge. So he comes out of the car, you know, I'm eliminated. And he walks up to me and he goes, "So where's your dog from?" I said, "From Guatemala." He's like, he goes, "Oh, well, good job. You know, she looks really tired. Like she only did like 5 minutes, but she's just tired, right?" And he said, "You need to buy a better dog." That's what he said. I said, "I already did." I said, I just got back from Wales and I bought a proper sheepdog. I just didn't bring him because he had just got him. He's like, "Well, good for you. Tell me what your dog is." I tell you, he told me the whole family. I bought a good sheep line dog, you know, from good lines, you know. And ever since then, I think I had the opportunity to just get better. And so I went to compete again in Wales 2000, I can't remember, 2021, I think, 2022. I went to compete in Wales. I got to compete like 6 times and
So
I
you
did
don't
very
travel
well.
to Europe just for agility, but for herding as well.
I kind of make my wife understand that I kind of also want to do something and she
Is
understands.
she
She enjoys
traveling
it.
with
So
you in
yeah,
that
we always
case?
travel together. We travel together.
Amazing.
Yeah, we always travel together. That's kind of the reason we got married, to say we're going to do everything together. And so agility became one of those things, and now herding too. So she practices with me too. Yes, she has a herding dog too. So that to compete in Wales was a whole different experience because it was just so like I felt like I was in the 1800s. You know, it's like almost like going back in time because they haven't changed anything. And I did very well. I managed to handle all of the courses. At least my dog handled it, and
Such an experience.
yeah, and I just wish I could compete more often. I haven't competed since because we can't go to the States and just haven't been to Europe to compete again. But I think that's the next goal, is to go back and do a bunch of competitions. I don't know
Little by
where, but
little, we can't have everything right, like piece of that, piece of that.
it's so much fun and it looks like you don't do anything. You're just standing there blowing a whistle, but there's just brain is going to explode, you know, and the dog is just so wired, you know. I enjoyed it very much. I think anybody who was there when I competed realized how
Remember you.
enthusiastic I was. I was just like, they thought I had won or something, and I didn't. I didn't win, but yeah,
It's just amazing to listen to you because you are almost shining, like talking about that. Like I'm very happy that you
yeah,
found a thing would make you so happy and as well proud of yourself because like of the development. And I can imagine when you share the knowledge with your students and you help
yeah.
somebody to be better as well. That's amazing.
It's amazing. I don't know how these things fall in your lap when you're, you know, in your life, but I think if you're just doing the right thing and you're on the right track, things fall into your life that are good for you. And so I can't see myself not doing that anymore. So I went out
Well,
this morning to a little practice. It was raining, like it was cold, and my dogs love it. So I said, "Oh, let's do it."
and your another passion is as well what I remember very clearly, and as well because it was only one experience in my life on a coffee field. You are a
That's
coffee
right.
guide, and that's part of your life as well, right?
Yeah, it's been a part of, like, my family's life for a long time. Not so much mine as much anymore, because it
Okay,
was about 10 years of my life that I did work coffee, and it's interesting because nobody knows what a coffee tree looks like, and everybody drinks coffee, right?
right.
And so,
And I was
like
just there walking through that amazing huge garden. and how you show us how it's everything working, all the process. Like you had
Yeah.
such a deep knowledge, and just love about you how you seems to be like a guy who is not overthinking too much. Like, okay, now I'm going coffee,
Right.
so I'm going 100% into the all the process around it, and I'm doing
Yeah.
herding, so I'm going 100% into that. That's
Yeah.
amazing
I did get
attitude.
that's well, you know what the thing about coffee, who doesn't enjoy a cup of coffee? You know? And if you have a good cup of coffee, then you're like, I can never go back and drink bad coffee anymore. So
I feel
you're like
you.
a
Yeah,
part of
I know.
people's like you're like the dealer, you know? Like if you sell coffee, you're the dealer, everybody's the consumer, you know? So it's always been fun to have that as a part of my family's lifestyle. Other people in my family help out now with that, you know. I have what I do is I can send you coffee to your house.
To
We have
you?
a web page. Yeah, to Europe. We sell Stephanie Semkat used to buy coffee straight to her house, and Joni Isabel. Like when you tried the coffee from here,
Yeah, I
it's good.
remember there was
It's
completely different
it's good.
story. And
Yeah.
like once I try good coffee, I don't want to come back. So I'm looking for a really good coffee, and I would be very happy to put a link as well to the show notes that
Yeah.
if people would be interested, that they can check the real
Yeah, we can
Guatemalan
try.
coffee. And one experience what came to my mind, I don't know if I even mentioned it to you, but back then, dear Raul, when I was judging in Colombia,
Yeah.
you came with a Gabi to compete there. And you
Yes.
brought me a bag of coffee, but there was nothing on there. There was no label. It was just an
Yeah.
aluminum bag. And I remember you handed to me like, Vendua, that's a gift for you. I was like, are you sure that it's a coffee? Yeah, yeah, it's a coffee, Vendua. And I was
Nope.
like, okay. I believe you. And then I was flying from that competition through United States to Europe.
No.
And in Miami, they took me over to the
No.
special room and they went through all my luggage. And I was like, easy, no, like I don't have anything there. And then the police guy took this aluminum bag
I
with
know.
nothing on it. And he just looked at me and he was like, what is that? And I was like, that's a coffee. And he was like, where did you get it? And I was like, there was a gift. And he was wrong answer.
Exactly. It sounds so wrong when you look at it in front of a cop, you know?
And I was like,
So wrong.
man, you can open it. Like, I swear God that there is a coffee. And in my head was just like, Raul, I'll
I'm gonna
kill
kill him.
you. And he didn't even open it. Imagine. He was like, okay, okay. He put it back to the bag and he was like, you can go. But at that moment, my ass was squeezed. I was thinking about you, about this moment when we were joking. And I was thinking, well, funny, but not funny.
Okay, so you weren't on TV then on that program where they catch people with funny stuff? Okay,
No,
good.
not after all, not.
Alerta
But
Alerta Aeropuerto. That's what the show's called.
I was thinking about you. Yeah.
I gave you the special coffee that we keep it just for our family members, and so we just give it to friends and stuff, and yeah, they didn't catch you.
I would say that normally I would feel very honored, but not
Yeah,
in the
but you
way
were
when you
scared.
flew from Miami, like the stories like this. That's a part as well reason why agility is such a big part of my life because, as
Yeah.
you said, it's a lifestyle. It's not just a sport for us.
Well, that's the name of your podcast, right? I was listening to some of the episodes before we connected. I wanted to see what's going on, you know? So agility on the road. That's awesome. I think that like a lot of the times when we travel, we don't know what we're going to learn. And so you go to a competition, you're going to do 4 or 6 runs and that's it. But you think that's all you're going to do, but really you bring back so much knowledge and friendship and like you just learn from people all the time. You know, what's going on in this world of agility. I think there's so much to be discovered still, you know. It's not an old sport. It's a
When
young sport.
your mind is open and when you are ready to learn from everybody, then I believe that all world is one big book. It is still one of my dreams that the agility one day will be a Olympian sport. From early on when I started, I hope that everybody will know about agility because back then nobody know about it. Now depends in which country I am. When I talk with the people
Yes.
about the agility in some countries, of course, agility I know in some countries zero. But yeah, I have the same dream.
Yes. I
It
think
will be a
and
big
I
thing one day.
to be honest with you, one of my biggest dreams growing up and even I could say it's still there is I wanted to go to the Olympics. So when I trained gymnastics in the United States, we were all training with the thought that I want to go to the Olympics. I don't care if I go, going for the United States was very difficult, almost, almost unreasonable sometimes. But for me, of being a Guatemalan citizen, I always thought maybe I'd go for Guatemala, and it's not easy to do that either. I always had this dream. And so when I opened my first gym to train gymnastics here in Guatemala, I named it Olympic. And that was because I want everybody to think like that. I think if you want to do something, why not try to be the best you can be, and where do the best people go? They go to the Olympics. And now you see all these crazy sports in the Olympics. Sometimes I think they make mistakes and they put some weird stuff in there, but, but,
Hopefully one day they
I
will
think,
make mistake and agility to get there.
no, they will, as long, you know what I think? And I've been involved with the Olympic Committee here, and I've been involved in those things. And first of all, Europe is like the leader for sure. And as long as countries like Europe, Brazil, and like the United States have formalized this sport with the federation and all this stuff, I don't see why they wouldn't. I don't see why it would not be an Olympic sport. It has all the potential. It is one of the best spectator sports to go to. It's definitely fun to watch. It's not fun to watch in my house when you only have 15 dogs and you spend the whole day changing courses. But if you go to World Championships in Finland, you feel like you're at the NBA finals watching basketball. It's fun to watch. And if they can do horses at the Olympics, they can do dogs, right? I am just a frustrated person about the Olympics because I didn't get to go, but I did get invited to work at the Olympics in 1996 in Atlanta because some of my teammates and friends were competing, you know? So I got to be on the volunteer staff. I got to build the gyms and clean. I was a cleanup crew. I was like mopping and and I was there for the whole Olympic. I watched everything. I always had that in the back of my head. I want to go back. And we went 2016. We went to Rio de Janeiro to watch the Olympics with my family, my kids. Just live the dream. I wish I could be a part of this. I don't care if I have to I don't know, any sport. I'll do any sport. Just give me a chance to go. And agility, if I'm not 88 years old when that happens, I will try to go to the Olympics. I will do agility. I will do anything it takes to go. I'm sure
Such
you
a
would do the
dream that
same thing.
we could meet there and compete. It's such a dream.
I think
And
I think it'll happen. It'll happen.
tell me, please, a little bit more. You said that you were doing gymnastics and you were in this mindset that you would like to go to the Olympics. Like somebody
Yes.
planted this seed in your mind, or it was in you? It was in the trainers, the approach.
Obviously, personality has a lot to do with it. I think, I was always sports related and I like to compete and stuff like that, always. But I was lucky enough to be in a place in the United States where the level of gymnastics and the club where I went to since I was very young, like maybe 9 years old, they were already like in that mindset. Do you know what I mean? Like if you're going to train, let's do it right and let's have fun. They're always about having fun, but you're serious about where you want to get to. So like you're 9 years old, you're not going to go to the Olympics when you're 10. You're going to go when you're 20. So what do we do for 10 years? We build a solid, good motivation, a self-esteem, physical talent, and I was just lucky to be a part of a program that was on the high level. One of my teammates went to 2 Olympics, and in the second one, which was in Atlanta, he won a silver medal. I grew up with him. And we competed against each other, and I always felt like we were in the same league, but he was just always so much more talented. And to be a part of that and to see that that's reality, that I was there when he won the silver medal, and that I just can't believe it. And so I almost feel like everybody who wants to be as good as they want to be has a right to have that goal. You're allowed to think you can win the world championships, but you're not going to win tomorrow. You're going to have to do a long road and learn a lot to get to that point. And so I like that part of the sport. And that's what I learned the most from being gymnastics, from gymnastics. It takes a long time. You just get in the mindset and have fun while you're doing it. Otherwise you will stop doing. If you don't enjoy something,
That's
you will
amazing.
stop.
That's amazing that you were even thinking about it, because when I think about my agility beginnings, I was not even dreaming about the world championship. Like the Slovakian
Yeah.
championship was the highlight for me.
Yeah. My coaches always made it look like it was something that you can do. You don't have to, but if you want to, never stop trying. And so gymnastics is different because it's a childhood sport. So you learn as a child so that when you become an adult, hopefully you'll be healthy enough and strong enough to do the proper gymnastics. But then as you get older, you can't do it anymore. You just physically, you can't do it. So you have to set that path like when you're younger. It's like, this is where you want to get. This is how we get there, but let's have fun doing it, okay? Work hard, have fun. In agility and other sports, I think it's a little different because it's the dog is the one that you need to start well, get the mind right, mature, and then work your way to maybe have a mature dog who can run as fast as possible and just be great, you know? But it's not gonna last forever either. So
Yeah, but
that's what
like
they have in common.
from my experience, like when you see the top handlers, like whatever dog they take, it's going well if the dog is healthy, right?
Yes.
Once you know how to motivate the dog and how to teach the basic, and as well, I would say that it's so much about the mindset that I know that I will manage. I know that I will make this dog work. So I would say
That's a
that
mystery to me, how people are doing that, like, Teresa Kralova or, Pau Serrano, who runs, like, I don't know how many dogs, and they
yeah.
just I don't know how they do that.
That they are the people who just grab the first dog and they are world champion. Like there are not many of them, but I saw examples like this. That's amazing. But then I would say the majority are more or less the same names who just get the new dog, and like whatever dog they will get, they just know how to make it happen.
I think they understand so much that maybe some of us don't understand just what they're doing. So if you understand how to get to where you're going, you just always find a way to get there. I personally don't understand that completely in agility, because I'm not that experienced handler and all that, but I watch a
Fair
lot.
enough.
I watch a lot and I compare to other things, and I think talent has something to do with it. Talent, I think, is not that you're just born talented. I think talent is having the ability to like accomplish what you put your mind to. So if people who are talented can do what they have in their brain. So it's like I want to be the best dancer, and they do it. Some people are scared. Some people are they don't have the balls to get up here, or sit on a podcast and talk about agility like you did.
I
You're a
some
very talented judge, like, you're very talented. You have abilities. Like,
I
you
somehow
just walk
don't.
into course and like, "Ah."
Yeah, but I honestly, I somehow don't believe in the word talent because
Huh?
as I know how much work is behind it,
True?
and it's a grit. Just keep doing. And there were a lot of frustration on my way, on your way, all the
Yes.
other people who are trying to be better and better every day. And you just have to keep going because when I remember 14 years old me with a notebook full of the course maps. I came home from competition and I just make the courses to my book that I will not that I will remember every sequence and that I can train every sequence to feel it and to see how dogs perform there. That there were so much tries and I lost so many times and as well like for example in the judging like sometimes you build just bullshit and then
Yeah.
and then it's very painful true that you have to watch this bullshit like another
Yeah.
hour. So you learn,
I
you
hear you.
learn.
Well, I
But
have to agree with you.
if you would not build this bullshit, you will not like our brain is learning the most from our mistakes. So I would just say like
Exactly.
more you do logically, more mistakes you make equal more you learn.
That's exactly what I was gonna say because even in dog training, people are very scared to make mistakes with their dog. And all the different disciplines I've tried with the dogs, everybody, the good people are the ones that say, "Don't be afraid to make a mistake." Because when you make a mistake is when you can actually teach your dog. If you know how to capture the moment and teach, you can do it at that moment. If you don't make any mistakes, you're basically not gonna learn much, or maybe you're not trying to do things that are more difficult.
You will
Yeah,
boost your ego, but the learning process is zero in that moment. You just stay on the same
exactly.
level as you enter the.
That's exactly right. And when I refer to talent, I think because I always felt like my teammate was always everything was easier for him. But I remember one time I beat him, and I was like 16 years old. He was like 17, and I beat him in a championship, and that was like impossible. Like, how did I beat this guy who's so talented who wins the championships? And then 4 years later, he's in the Olympics. But when I went to visit him in college, we competed against each other. He worked 10 times harder than anybody else. And I think the reason I beat him was because when he was younger, he had like a kind of an ego, and he felt like, okay, everything's easy. I just win and I don't have to work hard. And then someone like me beats him and he's like, uh-oh. Maybe that happened several times. And those are the defeats that made him become an animal. Like, just
Work
he
harder.
just works so hard, and that's why you get to where you're going. And behind the talent, there is people that are working hard and, like you said, making mistakes and just pushing through, you know? There's no doubt about it, and with a good attitude, you know, don't get down, don't get frustrated, just keep going,
Yeah, and
you know?
I would say that the social media are not helping this idea because what we see on the videos are the best runs. Mostly we see just
Yes,
the top of the iceberg, but so much work and so much struggle, so much tears, so much frustration, anxiety, and
true
all
that.
these things what are normal when you grow, when you learn, it's just invisible.
Very true, very true, especially how they handle when they make mistakes. I love to watch someone very, you know, professional, how they handle the mistakes. Like,
Yeah,
what is the attitude?
yeah,
What is the body language? What are they telling their dog? Because
exactly.
everybody makes mistakes. You know, when people say, "I don't wanna get eliminated," well, the judge is here to find out how to eliminate people. That's like the bottom line, you know?
Yeah,
You know, at the end of the day, people are gonna be eliminated. It's what you do with that. It's how you handle those things. Um, and that you have people have the right attitude. Otherwise, the dog kind of feels it too, I think. That's something that happens a lot here, I think, and maybe in Latin America, I don't know. Everyone needs to learn from people who are further along in evolution of agility, you know, how they handle the frustrations, how they handle the messing up. Like nobody puts videos of their dogs getting eliminated, right? Or making mistakes 5 times in a row. And it'd be nice
yeah.
to see that, you know, how do you handle it? Like
Definitely.
where
I agree with you, definitely.
that's how you learn, you know? And I think in herding, it's nice. It's boring to watch on a computer. Herding is more fun to watch in, you know, in
Mhm.
person, but people just put the video of whatever, you know? Even if you mess up and nothing happens like good, it's still like it's what it is. I think that people aren't so competitive in that sport.
Back then, I used to beat myself a lot. Like, it was
Yeah.
like when there was some elimination, I was just walking with the dog outside, like kind of like to calm down. But the inner talk inside of my head was like, you are kind of piece of shit. Like I never blamed the dog, but it went directly inside of me. And now I'm talking about like when I was in my 20s, yeah,
Yeah.
but then in that time, I heard the story. My friend been competing in Germany, and there was Tobias Wust competing as well, and that his dog jumped over the seesaw. This kind of, I believe I can fly. That when the dog don't stop at the end, and
Yeah.
that she spoke with him and that he just said that yeah, we just need to train Ciso a little bit more. And the next run he was back on the track with the same attitude, and I remembered how deeply it touched me, how it can be easy just like that. You just point the problem. Okay, so it means that we need some extra training with the Ciso, period. It doesn't have to go deeper and deeper. And why you didn't train perfectly, why you didn't do this. It took me a few years to get there. Somebody get it naturally. I think that with this, we are going way more deeper to the childhood, with how you were treated, with the people around you. Everybody has a different traumas and so on. Like, and we can see that in a sport how we behave after that.
Exactly. That's what I never stop learning about how people are, and I really love the communities that are in, like, agility communities, the people that participate, you know, because everybody has their own story, but they all come together to one place where I think they agreed to be nice to their dogs and be nice in general, and everybody has some craziness, right? But you never stop learning about people. I think everybody believes a little bit how much your dog reflects you and your emotions and your stress, and
100%.
yeah, it's hard to put a finger on it, but I know that my faults and my stresses are reflected in my dogs, and I try to get better as I go along, and so hopefully everybody does the same. And once you get to that point, I think then you can be that person who can just grab any dog and
Yeah.
do your best.
Yeah.
That's where you get there. You're not getting in the way of yourself anymore.
And it's not just about you. You are not so self-concentrated. It's about the
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely agree with it. Raul, thank you so much for your time, your knowledge, your energy, and your enthusiasm, what you share with me and with all of us. I would ask you, there is something what you would like to share, maybe something what you are thinking about in the last days, or last words that we can end up this lovely meeting together.
First of all, thank you. And everything you said, I was going to say the same thing. You bring the energy, you bring the excitement, and you always have in person and today. So when you invited me to this, I felt very honored and just excited. I got
Thank you.
all ready, got all dressed up, you know, and no, I love being. I've been a part of communities. I think when you do sports, you become a part of a community. And the communities are small and for agility in these countries. I think I was listening to Nikki Manes podcast that she did with you. She
Mhm.
mentioned Argentina, big country, but small community.
Yeah.
So it depends on us and how we can grow these communities because everybody's going to like it. It's going to grow. It's going to keep
Yeah.
growing. Just can we do it faster or better? And so our last project, these last couple of years, we've been doing like a daycare, agility daycare. So
Interesting.
many people that have the border collies and the
Mhm.
Australians, and they they they're just so happy to send their dog on our bus, like to school. They come here, they train agility, and they go home. And then we
They
invite them to
train
compete
agility with who?
with just our group, like sometimes me
Okay.
or my wife, but we have other trainers like her daughter, Cesar. We have another guy who is competing. So not
Uh-huh.
only do they train, but like now they participate in competitions. Whether or not the owner is going or
Mhm.
running the dog, it doesn't matter. They're just so excited that their dog is competing agility. And it's making it move a little faster and better. It's just building a bigger
Mhm.
community. And so like I wanted to mention that it's called the Agility Barn, like the barn for the farm, because it's a
Uh-huh.
kind of a farm here, and it's just fun.
Big, beautiful farm, I have to say. Yeah.
Thank you. Yeah, so the dogs come here so happy, and the owners are so thankful that they have the opportunity for their dogs, and so we're gonna keep doing that. I know other people do that in other Colombia and other countries, and we're just doing it our way, and it's getting better all the time. It's a very nice community we're building. Hopefully, we'll get more competitors
And maybe
and
those owners one day would be interested enough that they will compete as well with their dogs. They will train, right?
yeah.
That they
So
will,
that's what we're looking
you
for.
plant the
Our
seed
goal is
and
to one day we want to have a Guatemala team in the World Championships, like a whole team, like maybe just one category, like middies or intermediates.
I love that.
We want to. That's never happened, and I think we have a few dogs now that maybe can do it someday. So maybe soon we'll have
Mhm.
a team and we get to put the flag up and say we're here.
I love that. And what you were talking about agility barn, it just made me remember when I was in Ecuador, I was judging the dog of the president. Like he was running with some employee of the school, of agility school, but the security brought the dog from the president palace, or I don't know where the
Yeah.
president in Ecuador lived. And it was funny because security came with the dog, they took the videos and then they led with the dog and it's very interesting idea. So now you have it in Guatemala as well. Okay, I see. So there
Yes.
will be more competitors. It means on the competition as well, right?
Yes. Like at least 8 to 10 more dogs now can compete
Hmm.
on a regular basis. And our handlers are the guys that are working here. They're learning to be better handlers. Any way we can do it, we're just going to keep building. I just remembered a funny story you said when the last time we went to Finland, right, Vendela? We went to the opening ceremonies of the World Championships, right? So everybody walks in with a flag, right? I wasn't even competing. I was just a team leader. And I'm walking through, we're making noise. And later that night, somebody calls me and says, "Hey, you're on the news. Go on the TV." And they show on the news, Agility World Champions. And there's me with the flag acting like I'm the most important person. You know what? I said, I'm glad everybody's watching the news. They're going to think that Guatemala is just like number one.
Good job, Raul. My dear, thank you so, so much. Big greetings
Yeah.
to Gabi.
Take care. Good luck with the
And
podcast, Vandela. Keep it going.
thank you so much. And
All right, sweetie.
till the next time, Raul.
All right. Big hugs, Vandela.